A lot of these changes don't happen for entrepreneurs because maybe they lack a little bit of confidence, whether that's confidence in the outcome or confidence in themselves, right? They're just not feeling entirely brave in that. And so, what I want to say to them is this: borrow mine, borrow mine, take my confidence. Because at the end of the day, all it is a chance. And if you don't take it, then you're in the same spot you were before. So, borrow my brave, borrow my confidence, and go build something you love.
Welcome to the Economy Creators podcast and radio show on K-Fred Work-Life Balance Radio. I'm your host, Mary Farias. This is where we spotlight real stories of entrepreneurs and creators building their U-shaped economy around their unique interests, talents, and experiences. This podcast is part of a larger space called Economy Creators. Inside this space, I hold a workshop on the first Tuesday of every month to help participants learn and apply the steps necessary to become an economy creator. Lead yourself, lead your economy, and lead others. Many times people decide to jump out on their own, build something, and try to lead others without building a strong foundation and fully leading themselves first, only to see it fall flat. With my personal development business, Magnet Mind Development, I help people build that foundation they need to create a strong personal economy. Blended with this podcast with my other company, Iris Blue Publishing, I'm editing and publishing the Economy Creators Anthology, where I highlight and share the stories of 11 entrepreneurs and creators. Each one is in different phases of their entrepreneurial journey, and each has an incredible story to tell. You'll get to meet and learn more about each of these economy creators on this show. Plus, learn some tips from those who are making it happen. If you would like to be on the show, want to learn more about the anthology or any of the co-authors, or simply have a question about being an economy creator, just reach out to me. I'm here to help you in any way that I can. And if you're an economy creator, I invite you to reach out and apply to be a guest. I love meeting and spotlighting economy creators. Today, my guest is Ms. Coleen Stubbs. I'm so excited to have her here. She and I have become good friends over the last, year and a half or so, and through a networking group. And what I really love about Coleen is that she doesn't mince words, and she tells you exactly how she can help you in certain ways. And Colleen, give us a little bit of background on who you are right now, because I want to dive into your story about how you got here. But what do you do now for people, and how can you help them?
I have such a deep love for entrepreneurs and an admiration. I know how much work it takes to go in and build a business. And so I help entrepreneurs simplify their business because you can scale something that's simple just as quickly, if not quicker, than something that's complicated. So I teach them how to simplify their business and to utilize automation and delegation to build a business that works when they're not. Because as entrepreneurs, our goal in coming on trying to build a business is to have freedom. Not only time freedom, which is what everybody talks about, but also mental freedom, emotional freedom, overwhelm freedom, to just be able to go build a life you love. But you can't do that if you haven't built the business that works when you're not.
Yeah, that mental freedom is huge because when we owned our gym, all I thought about it, thought about and slept about and everything was the gym, the gym, the gym, the gym, the gym. And now I've really shifted gears in my entrepreneurial journey. And now it's more like I'm able to think about what's next rather than spinning my wheels on how am I going to make this current thing work. Do you see what I'm saying? The dichotomy between those two?
Yeah, I do. And I also completely can relate to being somewhere and somebody repeating something and me going, I'm sorry, what? We do that, right? Because our mind is so caught up in our business, whether it's performing right then, what's getting dropped, what you should be doing right now to make it work, instead of being able to look at the future and be planning. It's a completely different state of mind when you can relax about where you are currently because you're confident in where you're going and how your system currently is working, and you know that you can expand that into the future. And so it gives you freedom to dream and to plan into the future instead of being stuck in that gerbil wheel, if you will, of, "Is it gonna work right now? Where are my leads? Where is this going? Is this happening? I forgot to do this," and just getting caught up in that.
Yeah. So, this isn't what you've always done, Colleen. So, give us a little history lesson on where you've come from because you're an entrepreneur at heart.
I am, and so it is kind of what I've always done because I've always seen a problem and created a solution,
Mhm.
across many different businesses, as a matter of fact, everything from manufacturing children's clothing to having a daycare to, having home decor stores and offering customized scrapbooking. So all kinds of things I've done. I love being an entrepreneur. Number 1, I like to think for myself and not live inside anybody else's guidelines, and that includes in business and work, bringing in money. I like to be the responsible one. So I know that if I'm responsible for how I'm earning money or bringing in money, then will create something that works well for myself. So I've always owned my own business. This is my ninth business. My first 8 were brick and mortar businesses, and I love those. The first 6, I loved the concept of, if that makes sense to you. I love the concept of being a business owner. I loved that I had created a solution. What I didn't love is that I was missing out on moments that were important to people that were important to me. So by that, I mean, Mary, that I never missed Christmas. I didn't miss birthdays, proms, things like that for my kids. I didn't miss the big stuff ever because it can be calendared and I can follow a calendar. I'm an entrepreneur. I can be there for those things. What I missed was when my kids had a heartbreak that wasn't planned for. When they called at 3 in the afternoon and said, "Come get me right now," and I couldn't be there. Or when they were trying to pick out a dress and they just needed my input, but I was across town at work. So the things that were important to them that I missed out on, that made those first 6 businesses extremely hard, extremely hard. That and the fact that it wasn't organized chaos yet. It was just all over the board, me trying to do all the things and trying to be everything to everybody as a wife, as a mom of 4, homeschooling 4 kids, and also running my husband's business as well as building my own businesses. And so stretched so thin that I couldn't even see my way out of it, but reaching a point where I decided there was a better way and then doing different, and that made all the difference in my business.
Oh, I can relate to that. Even if it's quote a family business, it's still the business first, right? I mean, my daughter, she was 19 months when we started the gym. And yes, she could do whatever she wanted in that big, huge area and do all the things. But we were not paying attention to her. Other people were, of course. We had people paying attention to her, but we weren't there for her, we were there for the other kids at the business, the customers, and so I totally understand what you're saying. So would you find that or would you say that what you're doing now kind of has culminated after all of it's kind of brought all of that together of what I missed out on, what I didn't do, and organized it all? You said you didn't have organized chaos back then, so is that what this is?
That is what this is, and what I realized is that when you can embrace simplicity, when you can embrace automation and implement it, when you know how to delegate, not just what to delegate, and not everything should be delegated. So let's be clear on that. But when you know the process and you have the systems in place and you can do that, then it frees you up to be fully present and build the life that you actually want. Because without the life that you want, it doesn't matter how great your business is. It's still a prison, just wearing better shoes.
I like it. I like it. It's true. It's true. When I had our gym, I mean, it was fulfilling work, but it was round the clock work and it was brick and mortar, obviously. I can't teach a kid gymnastics through a screen. And it was emotional work and draining work. And But I was the end all be all. I was the one everybody came to solve any problem, for any solution whatsoever, whether it was, "Hey, the faucet's dripping," or somebody got really hurt. I mean, it ran the gamut.
Yep.
So, as an entrepreneur, we do wear lots of hats, and so it sounds like you're taking some of those hats for other entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so I actually don't take them on myself. I take them and I teach them how to put them in the right spot and relieve themselves from that. And there is a whole new world out there when you actually do that. Now, I'm Gen X, and so I was taught from the time I was little, like, "Go figure it out. Figure it out on your own. If I have to get out of this chair and figure it out." Right? And let me tell you what, I can really count on myself. I always figure it out. But then there came the day when I realized that I can figure anything out, absolutely. But here's the secret, Mary. There are other people that can do it better. I know. It's true. You probably don't believe that, but it's true. There are actually other people out there that can do parts of your business better than you can. And what happens when we allow that to happen? And I say allow that because it is a conscious decision to let go and let somebody else. And I like to correlate that with let go and let God. Okay. You have to have the same complete faith in that person that they can carry it. And they have to know that you do. And then you also have to stand behind them and support them in doing that. And so in doing that, I met this morning with my admin and I said, look, I sent over looms and SOPs for everything that needs done. Please make sure that the team gets those things done. And she knows that she's in charge of making sure that that gets done. And if there's any problem, she can document the problem and we can visit about it next week. But it's on her to come up with a solution until that point. Her job is to simplify my life. And she understands that. And I trust her to do that. And that's a big deal. And when you have somebody, let's say, Mary, that you're carrying a torch and you're going along your path in your business, you can see, at the very end where you want to be. You know the end goal you want, right? And along the way, you're gonna say, "Yeah, I could use somebody to do some copywriting. Come on, I could use somebody to do this. Come this way, come this way. Yeah, I'm gonna do this little bit with you and this little bit." And so you're still trying to get all these things and pieces organized, and you're the one carrying the torch, and you have all these people trying to follow you through the dark with your torch. But what happens if we change the trajectory of the path by pausing at the beginning and saying, "You know what? Mary, you're an expert in publishing, and I understand the value of having a book. I'm gonna let you head that up for me here. Bring your torch over here and light it off of mine and stand beside me here." And then you say to somebody else, "Look, you are great at scheduling, at keeping me on task. I want you to light your torch off mine and stand over here and walk with me." And then you begin to walk the path. You're now walking it much quicker because you can see better. And you have the brilliance of everybody that you've chosen to allow to light off your torch walking with you. And that's the difference.
I love that analogy. It's so true. It's so true. And have you found though, and this is how I was for sure. As an entrepreneur like you, I was like, I can do it myself. And my mom said, go look it up. Your parents said figure it out. Mine said go look it up. And that's what I always did. And I always depended on myself. And then I created this dependency on myself that it was hard to do those delegations. I had to really teach myself to trust other people to carry the torch. How do you
You
help people with that?
Yeah, you have to I think that communication is key. Not only do you have to learn to trust them, but for me, it's a complete let go. I have to completely let go. And I have to make sure that they understand that I am completely letting go. I am not a micromanager. As a matter of fact, I have zero interest in micromanaging you. My idea is to give you the task and have you let me know when you've reached the end goal that I set for you. How you get to that end goal is actually none of my business. I don't care how you get there. If you have problems along the way, sure, reach out. But just know that if you reach out too often, I'm probably going to replace you because I'm not
Mhm.
here to micromanage. And letting them know, and what that does to the person that you're delegating to is it gives them confidence in themselves. They're like, okay, she believes I can do this. And they step up their game and they show up as their best self. And then, Mary, when you've surrounded yourself with people who are showing up as their best self for your business, gee, guess what that does for your business, right? There you go.
Okay. So good. Ah, it elevates everybody. I love that way because it's true. When you do micromanage, people are always looking over their shoulder. They're always wondering if they're doing it right. They're always second guessing themselves. And what you're giving them is the autonomy to lead themselves, right?
Absolutely. And I think there's so much to it.
I want to step away from the interview for just a minute and highlight what Coleen is talking about here. She's describing taking the opportunity to really uplift the people who she works with. She's giving them the opportunity to show up not only for her, but for themselves. She's giving them the space they need to learn a little bit more, to depend on themselves, and to perform in the way that not only she wants them to perform, but in the way they want to perform. I love the concept of not micromanaging and allow the people that she leads to lead themselves. This is a true economy creator. The three tenets of economy creation are leading yourself, leading your economy, and then leading other people. Colleen expresses this flawlessly as she focuses on helping the people that she's leading to express themselves as she builds her economy. Colleen is a true leader of others, giving them the space to show up for themselves while she builds her economy. She is the example that the people who she works with can follow to be successful. This is why leading yourself is so important. Colleen knows who she is. She knows what she stands for. She knows what she wants, and she knows how to help other people get what she wants and get what they want. It's a perfect marriage of how to create a thriving U-shaped economy. All right, now back to the interview.
It's such a deep subject, the whole delegation thing, and understanding the level of support that people need. And your people that you delegate to need to understand that you support them. So, for instance, in my boutique, when somebody came in with a problem and said this, that, or the other, and whatever about one of my employees, I said, well, my employee will handle it the way that she sees fit to, and I'll support her in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's a problem, it's something that we take behind closed doors. But them knowing that you literally have their back makes them want to perform their best and do their best. And them knowing that there's an open door communication that you can talk about it is huge in them wanting to grow and being confident in their ability to grow and in their ability to stumble and recover. When they can come to you and say, okay, look, this is the path I took to get to this outcome, and there were bumps on it. Is there a better way? And then that opens the door for you to say, well, in my experience, this has been what I did that worked for me. If any of that sounds like something you want to try, then go ahead and try it that way, or if I need to do anything more to support you in trying it that way, let me know. But that was my experience. How I got to the end result was doing it like this. And then they're more open minded and still confident in their ability to go and perform it and deliver the end result that you're looking for.
Well, I think true leadership is managing, not managing people in the sense of micromanaging people, but really supporting people.
It is, and it's being willing to be the most overlooked.
Yeah.
And I have never been one who's been like, "Oh, look at all these amazing things I did." It's been like, "Wow, you're really good at that," to other people, and allowing them to take that, and it builds your business. I think that the flip side to that is if you're always the one saying, "Oh, I opened 900 nursing homes and blah, blah," you are gonna be so daggum tired and worn out, and you've just gone against everything that you wanted. So in a way, you're almost your own silent partner, if that makes sense, to these people, supporting them as they build your business.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? A lot of entrepreneurs run into this competition mindset that, well, if I teach them to be so much better at their job, they're going to go off and open up a competing venue or a competing store or a competing whatever it is that you're doing. And I just don't see it that way. I see it as helping a human see their best light and cast their best light into the world. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, that's so deep. And so I have 3 answers for that. So I'm gonna stay with, let's start with a non-compete clause. If it's truly like you're in a small community like mine and you don't want your employee to take all your vendors and open a boutique next year's, sure, have a non-compete clause that says they have to be 60 miles away or whatever that looks like, right? So that is one option. But another option is to help them be their best self. So when I had an employee that was a single mom and we were talking about her dreams and goals for her life, and she wanted to have a bath bomb and bath soap business. And she had all the knowledge and none of the funding. And so it was easy for me to say, let me help you set this up. I'll order your product for you. You create, I get to be your first customer. And I will blast you everywhere in everything I do. But I'm going to lock in at this price because I know what your price is. And we'll sell it to everybody else for more. But help them build out their dream too, right? And then my third thing would be this. I have a very good friend who owned a boutique right around the corner from me. Very good, like, we'll go to the winery together. Good friend, right? And it was so funny because sometimes I'd stop in to chit chat with her at her store. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have the same dress I have. And she's like, oh, what price do you have? And we would put the same price on it. Or I would say, you know what? I don't even care that much for that. And so how about I bring you mine and you sell them? You just buy them from me at cost. And so she would have all of those things that she sold. And we just didn't compete with each other that way. So it's just, there are workarounds for it that still make the other person look good while not taking away from you. Just have to
Yeah.
be creative and remember that everybody's human. Everybody's fighting the battle. They all want to get there. And there is actually especially in the online world, there's no such thing as competition. We all speak to a different audience, and there are billions of people in the online world.
Literally billions. How small is your town?
667, I think.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And now you're speaking to billions.
Nine billions. There we go.
I love it. I love it. So, Colleen, who's been your inspiration throughout this? You said you always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Who's inspired you?
I would probably say my dad. He always put people, my dad was, I come from a long line of entrepreneurs, first of all. Um, and my dad always put people first. And he always said, don't ever let the problem at hand be more important than the person to love. Don't ever let that happen. And so this is a man who had monthly rentals among other businesses, but he had the same renters for over 30 years. Never raised the rent, always mowed their lawn, fresh coat of paint every 3 years, excellent care of the person, right? Um, and then his work ethic, just always sticking to it. And I remember him telling me so many times, you do not have to have all the answers. You just need to know where to get them. The smartest girl doesn't have all the answers, he'd say. She just knows how to go get them. And so just being able to figure things out and watching him work and watching his love of family, as kids, he inherited a deep sea fishing boat that would take clients out deep sea fishing on day trips. And we would go out to Lover's Key in the Gulf off Fort Myers Beach, and we would cane pole fish all the way out there. I would bait hooks, take the fish off, clean them, flay them, get them packaged up for the clients to take home with them. We'd get to Lover's Key, and I would give them all shelling bags, and they would go out and get shells off the beach. This was before it was illegal, by the way. And he would roll out a barbecue grill that he had custom made out of 55-gallon drums, a big old long thing. He would grill hot dogs and hamburgers, and we'd have chips and soda, and then we would ride back in at sunset. And it was just, he would connect on the whole ride back in. He'd have somebody else drive, and he would just connect all the way out there. He told his stories of growing up out there and growing up on the water and working the boat with his dad. And then on the way back, he would walk around and connect with people and talk to them. And you know, at his funeral, Mary, The church held 1,000 people, and my friends were in the parking lot because of the impact he had in the community.
Wow.
It's just crazy to me that you can just be that present with people and that memorable that people want to come, after you've passed. One man that actually was part of the service gave a talk, and he got up and he said, "Hey there, I'm Mike." He says, "I've waited my whole friendship with Ken to be nervy enough to say that." And every time somebody would call my dad would answer the phone and say, "Hey, Ken Baker here. How can I help you?" Every single time. He was never timid, never met somebody that he wasn't friends with, just loved people. And being bold enough to put yourself out there that way and be open to people. Yeah, sometimes you get hurt, sometimes you get the bad end of the short end of the stick or whatever, but the majority of the time you don't.
Yeah. What a beautiful story. You know, Colleen, it sounds like you've picked up his torch because you are a remarkable human being. You are so kind, you are so giving. And I love being in your world because you always do put people first. And what you're doing in this particular business of yours is that you're helping entrepreneurs put their clients first, aren't you?
Absolutely, absolutely, and still have their life. They need to absolutely be able to take good care of their clients, excellent care of their clients, and then also build something they love, both in their business and out. I think at this age, I'm 55, I'm almost 56, and I dare say, I may be wrong, but I dare say I have fewer years ahead of me than behind me, and I really wanna make them count, and I wanna do it my way, I wanna enjoy my life, and I think every entrepreneur deserves that. There's hard work all the way along the way, but we deserve to enjoy our lives.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. 100,000% yes, because that's what drew us to entrepreneurship in the first place is that love of freedom and that love of following our ideas and our passions. And so many of us get caught in that trap that we just have better shoes, like you said, we're still in a prison, we just have better shoes. So I think that that's remarkable. So, Colleen, give me a little, about the woman behind the business. So, what are things that you love to do that, really don't have anything to do with your business necessarily, but feed your soul and keep you going?
Yeah, I love outdoors, number 1, I love outdoors. I actually have my air conditioning on and all my windows open because I love outdoors. It's my grounding place, it's my happy place, but more importantly, I love my family, and this business is just like a big collision of that because my last 2 brick and mortar businesses I had, an upscale boutique, and I also had 5 Airbnbs. And I loved those businesses. I had simplified them, learned to automate, delegate, had employees, the whole thing. Just absolutely adored every part of them. And then my mom fell ill, and I needed to take care of her. She was given a medical diagnosis that she would be a homebound patient and need medical care 24/7. And so I sold those to take care of her. I didn't sell them lightly, but I sold them because it didn't make sense. Even though I could be away from my business, it didn't make sense that I could never be in my business. And so I sold those to take care of mom and enjoyed that. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that was given me to do that and to spend that last bit of her life with her. Unfortunately, she passed away 5 months after I sold my businesses, and so I've had people say, "Do you wish you'd have kept them?" And I loved my businesses, but the quickest answer is no, of course not, because the opportunity I had with my mom is something that I never would have gotten. We had tea many mornings at 3 AM when she'd wake up and couldn't sleep, and we would just sit and visit, things like that that I am glad I was there for. And then deciding after she passed what I was gonna do, I've always been an entrepreneur, I always had a business, but being on the farm with my husband is super enjoyable to me. I love it. I love being here for him. I love being the one he calls when he needs help with the sheep or the cows or whatever. And I also like to be here for my grandkids. I have 13, almost 14 grandkids, and one of them just came in, and took a look at me, checked out what I was doing and left. But I like to be here for them, and so that's my happy place. Being online and building a business online gives me the opportunity to live out my dream of being on the farm every day, working the hours I want. I only work until 2:30, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off and just play really hard with my family and enjoy them. And I want other entrepreneurs to have the same opportunity to live whatever their dream is, whatever they want to do, to build out a business however they want so that it actually correlates really well with their life that they're dreaming of building. So I love to garden. I love to be outdoors, be with my kids and grandkids. We do a lot of camping, and believe it or not, I'm a little bit of a dirt head. I don't know if you know what that is, but
Tell us.
well, I like to ride ATVs really fast, and I don't mind going through the dirt at all, and the mud just makes it better, and I don't look that way. I know I've had people tell me that, but I'm the one who actually went down and said, "Okay, let's buy a four-wheeler for everybody in the family and a ATV for the whole family and just go at it," and so we enjoy that lifestyle a lot, and every week we are on it multiple days a week, taking all the dirt roads and teaching the grandkids how to ride. My grandkids have been riding since they were, like, 3.
Wow.
They love it, so
That's amazing. I love that you can practice what you preach in your business.
yeah, well, I think we all should in our business.
I agree.
It would be really hard for me to go to a doctor to lose weight if he was fat, or to ask you to publish a book for me if you've never done it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we need to do that.
I agree. I agree, and I think that that's remarkable and so much fun that you take. I do the same thing. I have set days, set parameters around how I work and when I work. My clients know it. They know. They just know, and I'm still around. But the scheduled meetings are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's just the way I am, and the rest of the time is mine.
Yes, exactly, exactly, and people come to understand and respect that, or they don't, and that's also okay. I have had one person tell me how very unprofessional I was when my grandchild walked on screen, and that was the last time that I talked to him, and you know what? Honestly, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
I'm perfectly fine with that. There are other people that are more professional, and that's probably where she belonged, but for me, it's always family first.
And that's a good such a good lesson for an entrepreneur to learn is that not everyone is your ideal client.
Absolutely, absolutely. Boy, just narrowed our work down for us, didn't you, right there? We'll
Right.
just stick with the ones that are meant for us instead of trying to get everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So, Colleen, you're also a co-author in the upcoming anthology for economy creators. Do you have any thoughts on what you're going to share with the world in your chapter?
Um, I think my message since helping my mom transition has just been to find a way to build your best life and your best business at the same time. It is so doable. For so many years, I just thought you couldn't. I thought you're either a really successful business owner or you're just living your best life. And that's so not true. I really just want to help other entrepreneurs, especially midlife entrepreneurs, understand that they can do both.
That is a perfect message because I agree with you. I agree with you. Because even if you're doing something that you love, like for me, for instance, it was gymnastics for so long, and I loved the sport, I really did, but it burned me out.
Yeah,
I couldn't have both.
it did. Yeah, and I've done that burnout. Mary, crazy thing. There were years when I actually paid people to decorate my home for the holidays while I was decorating my business.
Wow.
What was I thinking? They were literally at my house with my grandkids decorating my house while I was off decorating my business. I'm like, "This is so backwards, so
Yeah.
backwards.
That's a that's a good picture to paint.
That's so backwards." I should have had them decorating the all the other businesses I had instead of my home.
Right. Right. Oh, so wonderful. Well, Colleen, what do you think? What is something that some Colleen magical insight that you would love to share with the audience?
Well, a lot of these changes don't happen for entrepreneurs because maybe they lack a little bit of confidence, whether that's confidence in the outcome or confidence in themselves, right? They're just not feeling entirely brave in that. And so, what I want to say to them is this: borrow mine, borrow mine, take my confidence. Just say to yourself, what would Colleen do? And then go be bold and make the move. Try it out for a little bit. And you know what Colleen does if it doesn't work? She looks, sees why it didn't work, breaks down where it didn't work, and decides that it's either worth trying different and comes up with a better way, or shelves it for later and goes makes another bold move. Because at the end of the day, all it is a chance. And if you don't take it, then you're in the same spot you were before. So borrow my brave, borrow my confidence, and go build something you love.
Ugh, borrow my brave. Oh, that's so good. I love it. I love it. You're the best. You're the best. Colleen, where can people reach you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, or they can go to my website, simplifiedceosystems.com. LinkedIn is my favorite.
Why is LinkedIn your favorite, out of curiosity?
I love messaging people in there and just being active there. It's just an easy way to quickly connect without having to schedule a call.
Colleen, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you, Mary, for having me. It's always a pleasure to be in your midst.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for listening. Are you an economy creator? Join me the first Tuesday of every month for my Economy Creators Workshop. And if you'd like to be on the show, please reach out and apply. I'd love to meet you.